All right, today we're diving into a tool that is seriously shaking things up for developers who basically live in the terminal. It's called OpenCode, and its goal is to turn your command line into a full-blown AI-powered workspace. You know, if you're a developer who uses AI, this feeling is probably all too familiar. You find one AI model that's amazing for, say, writing boilerplate code, but a totally different one is way better for debugging complex issues. The big problem? Most AI tools lock you into their one specific model. But what if you didn't have to choose? And this really lays it all out. On the left, you've got the old way of doing things. You're stuck in one vendor's world. You have limited model choices, you're constantly jumping out of your terminal to a GUI, and your work disappears when you close the session. But on the right, that's the open code philosophy. It's open source, it works with any model you want, your sessions are persistent, and everything, I mean everything, happens right there in your terminal. It's all about giving you back control. So let's get into it. What exactly is OpenCode? Think of it less as a single tool and more like a smart layer that completely transforms your terminal from a place you just type commands into a true AI-native environment for building and debugging software. Okay, so here's the official definition. At its core, OpenCode is an open-source AI coding agent designed from the ground up for the terminal. But the real magic, its biggest selling point, is that it lets you connect to pretty much any LLM provider out there. This means no more bouncing between different apps, no more breaking your concentration. You can just stay in the zone and code. Now, let's look under the hood because the tech here is pretty slick. You get a native terminal UI that you can even theme to match your setup. It automatically hooks into your language server protocol. That's the same tech that powers intelligent code completion in editors like VS Code. So the AI gets deep, meaningful context about your project. Your sessions, they're all saved locally in a SQLite database, so you can always pick up right where you left off. And this part is absolutely crucial. It has a diff-first approval flow. The AI never just overwrites your code. It shows you the proposed changes, you review them like a pull request, and only then do you hit apply. It's safety by design. All those technical features are really in service of this one single powerful promise, giving you complete and total freedom of choice. This is what really sets OpenCode apart from the rest of the pack. Just look at that number for a second. Over 75. That is how many different LLM providers you can plug into OpenCode. We're not talking about just a handful of options here. This is a massive, sprawling ecosystem of AI models, from the huge commercial ones to niche open-source projects, all available through one interface. And this just gives you a taste of the incredible variety. You can use your existing OpenAI keys, plug in your Claude Pro or GitHub Copilot subscriptions that you're already paying for, experiment with Google's Gemini, or use Grok if you need blazing fast speed. And here's the kicker. For anyone who values privacy and control, you can run models completely locally using tools like Llama and LM Studio. It's your machine, your models. Okay, so the theory is great, but how does all this choice actually play out in a real-world scenario? Well, a software developer named Andrea Grandi decided to put it to the test. He pitted OpenCode against the highly respected Claude Code tool on a real task from his day job. Andrea's conclusion here is really telling. He found that, yeah, the dedicated Claude Code tool was still the top dog overall. But, and this is a big but, he admitted that using OpenCode paired with Anthropic's Sonnet 4 model was so good, it was a strong contender that could easily replace his workflow very soon. So, let's break down the results, because this is where it gets fascinating. Claude was the benchmark, but even it had some small issues. Now, OpenCode with Sonnet 4 was almost identical, but it took the liberty of reformatting code, and get this, it deleted 6 existing tests. That's a perfect example of why that diff-first review feature is a lifesaver. GPT 4.1, on the other hand, started out weaker but got the code perfect after just one simple correction. And then there was Gemini. As Andrea so perfectly put it, Gemini, oh dear, it started making things up, duplicating code, and just generally made a mess of things. And this right here is the ultimate argument for model choice. On this particular day, for this particular task, Gemini was the wrong tool for the job. But for something else, it might be the best. OpenCode gives you the power to find out, instantly. Which brings us to the final and maybe the most exciting part of all this: empowerment. OpenCode isn't just about giving you different models to use. It's about letting you take complete control and mold the AI to fit your specific needs and workflow. And getting set up is ridiculously easy. Seriously. You run one command in your terminal to install it, then you use a simple auth command to securely plug in the API keys for whatever services you want to use. And finally, you just cd into your project directory, type /init, and you are good to go. Now this is a real power user feature. Every single project has its own little quirks, right? Its own coding standards. By creating a simple file named AGENTS.md in your project, you can give the AI custom instructions. You can tell it things like, always use tabs, not spaces, or our shared utility functions live in this specific folder. It's like giving the AI a style guide for your project. And you can even take that a step further. For your own personal coding habits that you want to apply to every project, you can create a global agents.md file in your main config directory. This lets you keep project-specific rules separate from your own personal style, which is just brilliant. So let's just recap the whole thing. The OpenCode advantage really boils down to 4 key things. It's the freedom to use any model you want and escape being locked in. It's the control you get from a workflow that lives in your terminal and that you can customize down to the last detail. It's the flexibility to switch to the perfect AI for any given task on the fly. And it's the sheer power of having this universe of AI right at your fingertips. So really, this is the question that OpenCode leaves us with. When you're no longer held back by the limitations of your tools, when you can instantly pick the absolute best AI for any job, whether it's generating code, debugging, or even reviewing someone else's work, what does that unlock for you? What will you build next? As you think about that, if you want to stay on top of all the latest research and tools that are shaping the future of AI and machine learning, you can always find the latest papers and explainers on our webpage, neuralintel.org. Thanks for tuning in.